Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Cameras and Coffee. And today we're going to talk about, well, Pentax has been in the rumor mill twice in the last week, which is a whole lot more often than usual. Hush, Steinbeck. Steinbeck, I cannot unlock my phone when your nose is between my hand and the phone screen. No, I can't. All right. So Pentax has been in the rumor mill twice more than usual. I will say the Pentax team is exceedingly good at playing things close to the vest. I don't think there's a single government in the world that's as good as, well, maybe North Korea, that's as good at keeping secrets as the Pentax team. They are fantastic. So to have two potential leaks in Steinbeck, please, you're a good boy. You are so cute. You are so cute. So to have two potential, or to have two announcements in a week from Pentax, from Ricoh, is very rare. The first one I don't have open, but we'll talk about what it means. If I can re-find the article, I'll post a link to it. But the K-3 Mark III, I believe that's the one they're on now, has been delayed. The Mark III is an incredibly exciting camera. The optical viewfinder in it looks like it's going to be just fantastic. Sounds like, if I recall correctly, it's going to have 4K video. So there are some things that are disappointing. It doesn't have a tilt-out screen. And the price on it is quite high, given that it's an APS-C camera. But it was apparently delayed. The reason, the article I read didn't go into great detail as to why, but there's a theory that it has to do with a fire at a factory plant, a Sony factory, that is affecting the supplies of camera equipment, computer, some aspect of the camera computing system for many, many companies. And what I think that really does is show how interconnected all of these companies are, that very many of them rely on Sony, which is an important thing to be cognizant of, because it shows how important Sony is to the digital camera industry. And it also shows what happens when you have a single supplier providing the majority or all of a single important part or multiple important parts. When that single supplier fails, there are ramifications throughout the industry. So, I mean, proof positive, if you've ever thought maybe monopolies are a good idea, no. So, at any rate, the K3 was announced last week that it was going to be delayed. And my first thought when I heard that was, oh, this must be delayed, and let's never bring up Pentax again. I admit I went straight to the Pentax is doomed scenario. Probably shouldn't have. Ricoh rather, has shown time and time again that they're committed to Pentax and to the DSLR industry, or the DSLR format and the photography industry. So I think it is premature to say Pentax is doomed, especially in light of what came out on Pentax Rumors today. This is exceedingly interesting to me. There's coming soon, the article title on Pentax Rumors is coming soon, 3 HD Pentax-FA Limited lenses and a new K1 Mark II J Limited 01 camera. All right, so let's talk about what these things are. Now, the limited lenses are a series of film era autofocus lenses. They were the best of the best that Pentax designed. In that era, I should specify. I have the 31 and the 77. They are remarkable lenses, absolutely stunning performers. From the 31 was the first one I bought, and it is it's amazing how high quality it is. I've had it now for almost a decade, and it still continues to deliver just amazing photos. Considering all the abuse it's gotten in that decade, that's pretty good. And the 77 has so much sharpness, it's actually unforgiving to many portrait subjects, but it also has a really great image character. The 43 I've never had. I don't, aside from it being really tiny, which is a great feature, it doesn't do anything for me in terms of filling a need in my focal lengths. I have the 50mm 1.4 Pentax DFA star SDM, 17,000 other acronyms, the brand new one that is my standard go-to in that range. Okay, so the limiteds are these film era lenses. They are exceedingly sharp, and anyone who says that Pentax lenses aren't as good as Zeiss probably isn't familiar with the really good Pentax lenses. And the entirety of Pentax history has been that their lenses are absolutely remarkable, consistently remarkable, especially the best of the best. Their Star series, the ones that had the green band back in the 80s, I think that's when they came out. Just the lenses were phenomenal performers. Go up to their medium format, the 645 lenses, and then beyond that, the 6x7 lenses are just incredible. The best of the 6x7 lenses are no less sharp than 35mm lenses, and that's not typical of medium and large format lenses. In general, there are exceptions to this, but as a general rule, the larger the film format and the larger the lens format, the softer the lens, because there's less of a need to have resolution at those large formats because the enlargement is lower. So large format lenses on an MTF chart basis or a lines per millimeter basis, definitely significantly softer than 35mm lenses. So to say that a 6x7 lens is, which is a medium format lens, and medium format lenses, the same is true, they are generally softer, though not to the same extent as large format, as 35. So I've tested all of my Pentax 6x7 lenses on APS-C and on full frame, and they all consistently deliver, not all, the best of them, which are the 105 2.4, the 200 f4, and the 135 1:2 macro, consistently perform in a manner that is just as sharp as 35mm lenses of the equivalent focal length. The exceptions, the 55mm 3.5 is a bit softer than a 55, and the 35mm fisheye is super soft on APS-C and full frame. But fine for the 6x7 film format. At any rate, back to these lenses. So looking at the lenses that are pictured in this Rumors announcement, these look like old marketing photos. So I am not certain if these are what they will actually look like. If these are what they actually look like, then what I think is most exciting about these lenses is that they retain the aperture ring, they retain the physical aperture coupling on the mount, and they retain the Pentax mounting tab dot, which helps align the lenses when you're mounting it on the camera with the mounting tab. And so if you look at the photos, there's a little green dot. When you're not looking at the camera, you can put your thumb on that dot, put it onto the front of the camera, feel the lens release with the side of your thumb and the dot with the front of it. That's how you know you've gotten them aligned, and it just slides right into the bayonet and turns. That's what that dot is there for. There are no photos of the back of the lenses in this article, so I cannot tell you whether or not it's going to maintain the screw drive autofocus, but the lens housings that are photographed, if these are the actual refreshes, are exactly the same as the older ones, which means there's no room in them for an SDM motor. So what then is the change? There are some, lower in the article, there are three pictures of the three lenses with some information in Japanese. I don't read Japanese, so I can't tell you what all of it is, but the two on the left are HD coating and SP coating. Pentax has always had exceptional coating, and that was one of the things that has always set their lenses apart in terms of quality. It's not just that their optics are exceptional and that their optical formulas are exceptional. That has consistently been the case since the 50s with Pentax. Their coatings are also really good. And because of the way that they do the coatings and because of the effort they put into having quality coatings, Pentax lenses really resist flaring far, far better than the majority of the contemporary lenses that were released around the same time as them. So the HD and the SP coatings that Ricoh is using on their Pentax lenses now are really, truly phenomenal. The way that they eliminate flare, the way that they preserve color and contrast, and the way that they improve light transmission through the lens to make the T-value of the lenses closer to the actual aperture value is really spectacular. I am consistently in awe of how good Pentax's lens coatings are. So to see them taking the limiteds, which are exceptional lenses that had the best of the coatings that were available when they were made throughout their production life specifically, and then refreshing that same lineup, which I would assume means the same body, same formula, with their new high-end coatings is very exciting. The reported price of the 77mm FA Limited is also lower than the current retail price of that lens, even though it's going to have better coatings. Which is also very exciting, don't get me wrong. I want to be clear on that. These lenses are really, really exciting news. All right, so there's a little bit of speculation there because I can't promise that the marketing photos we're seeing, although it might be. I can't tell. I couldn't promise the marketing photos that are on Pentax Rumors are the actual new lenses. I do hope they are, because I think preserving the aperture lens, aperture ring, is a differentiator for Pentax, and I think it would be a good way for Ricoh to show that they are committed to the legacy Pentax users who are still using the film bodies. Though at the same time, I do also recognize that those aperture rings increase mechanical complexity, increase construction complexity, and also add a way for moisture and dirt to get into the lens, and also add a way for the lens to fail that lenses without the aperture ring don't have. So there are drawbacks. All right, so the last piece of Pentax news is the Pentax K1 2J01. So Pentax Rumors states there will also be a new Pentax K1 Mark II J Limited 01 camera that will be announced this week and will start shipping in late April. The new Mark II J Limited was described to have a black and gold Viridian Scarlet Rogue LX75 metallic. I have no idea what most of that means. It looks like there's a little bit of translation loss there. What is interesting is that the LX75 and the LX, of course, was Pentax's final top-tier professional-grade manual focus camera. It remains one of the most sought-after manual focus professional-grade cameras today. Despite having a few weaknesses, it is an absolutely amazing camera to use even today. If that LX75 does indicate a design element or design or a color scheme throwback to the LX, I think that's a good thing. When Pentax announced their K1, before they announced it, one of the things that I said many times was that they should not call it the K1. They should call it the LXD or LX Digital, right? And then throughout the refreshes, just add Mark II, Mark III, whatever it is, to it. Either they didn't hear me say that or they didn't listen. Functionally the same thing. At any rate, I do still think that having the top tier digital camera called the LXD would be a good choice from a marketing perspective. But even if they don't, just having something throwback to the old LX camera will be a really nice way of doing some fan service to say, we understand the importance that these legacy cameras have to our fans and are committed to maintaining that legacy as part of our digital offerings going forward. So, at any rate, I'm not sure what's going to be different about it, whether it's just a cosmetic change or whether they'll have some sort of sensor, hardware, software, whatever upgrades to go along with it. I'm sure we'll find out when that announcement comes. But suffice to say, announcements about 3 lens refreshes and the K1 having some sort of refresh as well, the K1 Mark II having a refresh as well, is very positive news coming on the heels of the very unfortunate announcement last week that the K3 Mark III is delayed. So the long and short of all of that is, I don't think Pentax is doomed. And I think that's good news for all of us Pentax shooters who appreciate the lenses and the camera quality and enjoy using our Pentax's. And I look forward to continuing to use my Pentax's for quite a long time to come. Have a good day, everybody, and I'll see you in the next video.